It's been 16 years since the last chapter of the 28 Days Later story, and for years, fans have been speculating on whether or not a potential sequel was on the horizon. Praised as perhaps one of the scariest horror films of all time, 28 Days Later and its 2007 sequel, 28 Weeks Later, laid a solid foundation for a very horrific glimpse into what a post-apocalyptic world ravaged by a viral pandemic could look like. Now, after all of these years, we have the first concrete evidence that a third sequel, presumably titled 28 Years Later, is in the works, with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland attached to write and direct. Now, given that we're only a few years away from the 28th anniversary of the original 2002 film, this could be a hell of a time to dive back into the world of the Rage virus. 28 Weeks Later took more of an action-oriented approach to the story, partially abandoning the slow-burning, atmospheric style of Danny Boyle's first film. Financially, 28 Weeks Later didn't perform quite as well as the original movie, which threw any prospect of a potential sequel into question. From a story perspective, there were definitely a lot of issues that needed to be fixed. And there were also rights issues at play, which kind of complicated things as well. Nevertheless, it sounds like the prospect of a 28 months or 28 years later has plagued, pun completely intended, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland for years now. In a brand new interview with Inverse, writer Alex Garland and director Danny Boyle spoke about the prospect of a third chapter in the 28 Days Later franchise. When asked about a potential 28 years later, Alex Garland stated that I resisted it for a long time because there were things about 28 weeks that bugged me. I just thought, that, I'd rather try and write a different story in a different world. But a few years ago, an idea materialized in my head for what would be really 28 years later. Danny always liked the idea. To which Danny Boyle responded, so we're talking about it quite seriously, quite diligently. If he doesn't want to direct it himself, I'll be well up for it, if we can execute a similarly good idea. For a while now, rumors have circulated about Danny Boyle's interest in making a third film, as well as Cillian Murphy's involvement. And personally, I think if you're going to do a 28 years later, bring back that original cast. I mean, the age difference would work for the time jump that we're having from 28 days and months to 28 years. It could work, especially if you're doing more of a global pandemic type thing, and the Rage virus isn't necessarily only affecting one place at a time, like we've seen in London and then in Europe at the end of 28 Weeks Later. That could be really cool to bring back the original cast and see them reacting to this and kind of see how that event plagued the rest of their life and kind of changed their lives in a really dramatic way. I'm super interested in seeing another chapter, especially if Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are on board to write and direct the thing. I've said this before, and I actually made kind of a deep dive video into 28 Days Later. It's one of the few films that genuinely scares me, and I think it's such an artistic, well-made film. And I would love to see that original creative team bring the story back to its roots and kind of dive into a new chapter of what this Rage virus story looks like. I think that there could still be a whole lot of life left to this terrifying story. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me. Please be sure to leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. What would you like to see from a potential 28 years later sequel? New episodes of our shows premiere every single week at 8 p.m. Eastern, with brand new videos dropping every Tuesday. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and now Threads at LTM Podcast KY. Guys, as always, please be good to each other. Be sure to leave this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Peace.